This is The Evening Buzz, presented by Mikhail Atiyah.
Better Call Saul season finale has finally come to a conclusive end. And there is this feeling of emptiness in a lot of fans of the series, as even I am trying to fill the void myself, jumping through subreddits and just going on YouTube, rewatching some of my favorite scenes of season 6, even going back, and to a point where even I started to partake in creating memes for Better Call Saul, and it's a whole lot of fun, but it's still, you just can't believe it. Better Call Saul has finally come to an end, and it's bittersweet. It's one of those series where I didn't think I'd be this invested from the get-go. And I'll just give you a little bit of story because Breaking Bad, considered by a lot of people one of the greatest shows in television, and it's no understatement, but I never got into Breaking Bad for so many years. I actually got into it in 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdown, where I just had my laptop, I had my Netflix subscription, and I said, you know what? Let's see what the craze is all about. And I ate up those 5 seasons in a matter of like a week or two, and I just was obsessed. I get why people absolutely love Breaking Bad. To the point when I heard about Better Call Saul, and that it was a prequel to the Breaking Bad series, and it focused on Saul Goodman, the shady lawyer. A part of me felt like, I don't know, he always felt like this one comic relief character. Not sure I'd be interested in watching an entire spin-off of him. And so for a very long time, I've dismissed Better Call Saul, thinking it's just a filler series. However, when the season finale finally hit back in April, and I did the mistake of watching season 6, just the first couple of episodes, and because I was one of those people who are like, I just want to know how it connects to Breaking Bad. That's it. However, I realized I did the mistake. I did the disservice of not watching the series from the very beginning. So after watching the first couple episodes of the finale, I went back, especially right at the mid-season finale, where there was a month break before they continued the rest of it. I ended up binge watching the rest of Better Call Saul, all the way from season 1 all the way to season 6. And I grew to absolutely love this show. The characters, the cinematography, the recontextualization of everything that you probably have known about Breaking Bad is just elevated. It's enriched by Better Call Saul. And there were times where I really felt this series has surpassed Breaking Bad at some points, at least when it comes to the cinematic feel that they go for. It's absolutely outstanding. So Saul Goodman, is also I would say one of the biggest, like the key factor to why the show works so well. You get to see him from the very beginning as Jimmy McGill, this district attorney, defense attorney, who is trying so hard to go down a path that's straight and narrow, and try to also make his brother proud. But he has a history of being a con man, where he took shortcuts and he played schemes and he did all sorts of shenanigans, or as his brother would say, chicanery. And you see this character who in the beginning realizes that he has this difficult journey of redeeming himself and doing the right thing, but he can't help but just go back and feed into his dark desires and dark instincts. And that slowly envelops him, and eventually he goes from Jimmy McGill to Saul Goodman, and watching that was just so fascinating. And that's just one character. Kim Wexler, his beloved interest, is another very fascinating character who was never mentioned in Breaking Bad, which always brought this, looming question of what's her fate? What happens to her? Does she die? Why was she never mentioned in Breaking Bad? And Saul's brother, Chuck McGill, that complex relationship between these two brothers it is makes for some of the best drama I've ever seen. I relate to it so much as someone who has 6 siblings. I get the frustration that usually comes with dealing with, brothers and sisters and such. And then they even reintroduce us back to Mike Ehrmantraut and Gus Fring. We get to see a little bit more story arc of Mike and his slow decline into compromising his own moral standards. We see Gus, who is trying to expand his secret empire without the cartel, and the introduction of Lalo Salamanca, who is considered by all fans out there, most fans, that he is one of the best villains in the series. He brought so much conflict and tension and rivalry that we haven't seen even in the likes of Breaking Bad. It was phenomenal. And all this is a prequel, which means that how do you write something that takes place 6 years before the events of Breaking Bad and still keep it refreshing, keep it surprising, and keep engaging your audience? And I get to give kudos to the writers, Vince Gilligan, Peter Gold, and his team of writers for just doing a phenomenal job at really consistently keeping us at the edge of our seats, just wanting to know more, even when we know what happens during the events of Breaking Bad. There's still this gap where we're trying to piece things together and trying to figure things, and it drives us crazy and it makes us even more obsessed. And one complaint I would say is that, even from fans I heard, is that season 1 to 5 can be slow paced, but I think it's the kind of show that dares to be slow and it methodical, and it takes its time and meticulously putting all the pieces together, because the setup that all culminates to the season finale is out of this world. It all pays off in the smallest intricate kind of ways, in the most subtle kind of ways. It is, I tell you, I get goosebumps just thinking about how they just absolutely killed it in this season. And I try not to give too many spoilers about the season finale, but it's both a conclusion for Better Call Saul as well as post Breaking Bad. You know, the transformation of these characters and the choices they make that affect the world around them, and the pain that they've caused, whether it was intentional or unintentional, it feels real. The second half of this season was eerie and depressing and almost something that's just felt absolutely surreal, you know? And I couldn't guess as much as I tried to, I couldn't guess how they were going to wrap things up, even how every episode was going to pan out. It was an absolute mystery. And that in itself is what makes it so invigorating and captivating to watch. Better Call Saul is, I think at times, and I hate to say this, I know some fans wouldn't want to hear it, but at times I feel Better Call Saul does surpass Breaking Bad. And it's only because it's the same team of writers, it's the same film crew, and you know, also the same actors who have experimented in Breaking Bad and are now sort of refining their craft, and they're coming back and improving on a lot of things that maybe Breaking Bad had in terms of flaws. And you come to this like 6 seasons of Better Call Saul, and it just gets better and better as the story goes along. And of course, again, I'm not going to say any spoilers, but when it comes to that ending, I will admit I was satisfied, and in the way that I was sad and almost feeling compromised by it. You know, it's like that's the only way it could have ended, and I'm okay with that. I will live with that. There's so many memorable moments and not only in this season but through the past seasons. I've absolutely fell in love with all of these characters, and at times I've even become disgusted by them. and their actions. It's a fluctuating feeling that you wind up getting with each character. Kim, who I respected so much and adhered for, I thought she was going to be, the very support system that Jimmy needed. But of course, that turns completely 180. And then you have Jimmy, who transforms from, Jimmy McGill, then to Saul Goodman, and then to Gene Takovic. And you see a man who slowly just becomes a shallow, soulless, desperate person who I think in the beginning had good intentions, who was a good person, but his circumstances and his choices have led him down a path of no return. And you see a man who is desperate to find any semblance of freedom. And I would say that the ending in some way gives that to the character and to even other characters as well. Better Call Saul is one of the best drama series in television history, and I don't exaggerate. I think it's the best time for you to watch this series, and especially if you're a Breaking Bad fan and you're still stubborn about it, this is the time to watch it. It is masterful in terms of storytelling, in terms of performance, in terms of character development, in terms of cinematography, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of tension, in terms of just good drama that really keeps you, again, engaged from start to finish. And I like how Better Call Saul, in some sense, it ends where it starts. And that's just all coming full circle in the most beautiful, artistic kind of way. So yeah, my final verdict for Better Call Saul, I'd say is a 10 out of 10. I don't have any issues with it. The more I look at it, the more I appreciate the smaller details and all the little small pieces of setups that pay off in the most tremendous kind of way. So yeah, I highly recommend, if you've watched Breaking Bad, you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't watch Better Call Saul. Because believe me, you're going to have a wild time with it. And that is my review for Better Call Saul. If you have any personal critiques or you even want to share your thoughts and opinions, hit me up. Text me also 4215. It's Lot Urdu. Would love to hear from you guys. And we're going to take a short break. And coming up next, we'll be talking about Sony, as apparently they're looking to work on a new adaptation, a live action adaptation for another video game franchise from their roster. And it happens to be Days Gone. Very interesting. That and so much more right here, guys, on the Evening Buzz.